Welcome to the Phil Henry Show. We have a very special guest today, Mary Hunter from Bangor, Maine. And we're going to talk to Mary about all kinds of stuff today. We talk about health, wealth, love, happiness. And in this case, Mary has a little bit of wisdom behind her. And Mary, if you don't mind, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself. And I can't remember if you're, when you were born, but maybe you could give me just a quick summary of that. Because we met, and just before we met because I acquired this building about 2 years ago, Mary, and I saw you running in and out of this building like a mad woman. And I was like, who is this lady? And they said, oh, that's Mary Hunter. She's all over this town. So go ahead, Mary. Tell us about what's going on there. Where are you from? Yeah. On you. You go ahead.
Hello, my name is Mary Hunter. Sometimes I'm in a place where I've never been before, and some people meet me there and says, Mary, where are you originally from? Of course, I have to think. Then I would say, what do you mean? Do you mean what city, country, or what? Oh. And I say, well, I'll tell you, it's like this. You remember the question, where am I originally from? In my knowledge, I thought each person was originated from his or her mother. Oh, yeah, but your question was where you originated from, and that's where I originated from.
So you're originally from your mother's private parts, basically, is what you're saying.
I didn't say all that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of is what you. So Mary, how old are you?
A midwife delivered me to my mother.
Okay, what year?
July the 9th, 1923.
1923. So let me do the math. 23. 33, 43, 53, 60, 73, 83, 93.
That was 90,
holy crap, that's
95 years ago.
95. That is incredible. Mary, 95 years old. One of the things that impressed me about you, and you can maybe, I'd love to know what your philosophy and thought process is on this, but you are like more energetic and more upbeat and positive than most people I run into. And where do you get that, and why do you seem to exude this sort of energy at 95 when most people are just sitting on their couch, kind of basically waiting for time to take them out of this place? So, and that's not you. You are like more energetic than most 25-year-olds I know. So go ahead, please.
I'm not sure what causes me to live that long, but I don't abuse myself like drinking the wrong hour. What do they call partying? All those that goes with it.
Okay.
I'm not that type of person.
Okay.
But I always did work. I remember when I was growing up, my parents never owned a car or any kind of a vehicle.
Okay.
We walked, or you get there the best way you can.
And you got to exercise. So what in the positive
Plenty
attitude?
of exercise, working.
What did you do for work, Mary, when you were in the
Stayed
working?
home a lot.
Okay.
We had a vegetable garden. We had a milk cow, but I wasn't allowed to milk the cow, but I had to churn the milk to make butter and milk. But I'll tell you this little story.
Okay.
We moved to Winniport. Mm-hmm. June the 22nd, 1955.
Wow.
My husband had a barber shop here in Bangor, but I was a stay-home mom with the children.
Okay.
So we bought a milk cow. I was afraid that cow was going to kick me, and I was afraid I was going to hurt her. So it took me an hour and a half to milk the cow. But she was very gentle.
Okay.
You might know a Jersey cow is gentle, but I didn't realize.
Well, first of all, it's a big animal. So when you come up on it and you haven't milked a cow before, I suspect it's kind of a frightening experience.
I was afraid.
Like this monster animal could basically kick me and hurt me. But what do you do nowadays, Mary, to keep busy? Because you're 95, you have a positive attitude. What is it that you do on a weekly basis? Like you're in and out of this building all the time. So give me a typical week in Mary's life.
I don't keep up with it that way. I just keep busy daily.
Okay.
I volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
I started volunteering in nursing home in 1997.
Wow.
I used to go every day until I got a bitter pill to swallow. Take some time off for yourself, and that was the worst medicine I ever took in my life. I'd rather take castor oil than take that.
Well, what happened when you say a bitter
they thought
pill?
I should take some time off to myself. Myself is helping others.
Okay.
Some people have told me they cannot stand to see their loved one in a facility.
Yeah.
It strengthens me, gives me more power
Okay.
to continue to help people. They're none of my relatives, but they
Right.
need help, and I would like to be the person to do that, and I do it as much as I can.
That's wonderful. So
I
it
do
gives you energy when you're helping all these people. Like it gives you energy to continue to do that.
That is correct.
Okay.
And I've known sometimes family members ask me to sit with their loved one for a while, pray for them, and sing to them. Just sit and hold their hands. That strengthens me, and I do it. But I
Wow.
haven't been officially trained, but naturally trained, and I enjoy it.
That's wonderful. Actually, that's really inspiring. In fact, are you, if you don't mind me asking, are you a religious woman?
Well, I go to church,
Yeah.
and sometimes I feel as though I should stay with the residents.
Okay, you
During
feel
the
you feel
service.
more powerful in that environment, helping.
Because by seer incident, I cannot help them get up if they fall, but I can get some help for them, and I know that. So
Yes.
suppose something happened like that, and no one's available to see it happen. I go get some help. I can do that.
Yes, you can. Yes,
That's
you
what I
certainly
do.
can.
They even say if your husband falls, don't you do it. It's our job to get him up.
Right, exactly. Just bring someone in that has the ability to do that. So, speaking of your husband, so you actually before we came on, I read there was an article that you showed me in the paper that said that you got married at Christmas Day in 50. What was it, Mary?
Oh, you mean he was born
Well, you got married to him on Christmas Day in what year?
1952?
Okay, so 1952. So how long were you married to your husband?
Oh, now you want me to do the math? I would subtract.
Subtract. Okay, so maybe an approximate year would be good. How about an approximation?
40-some years.
Okay, so 40-some years you're married to this man. What would you attribute 40 years? Okay, let me rephrase the question. In today's world, with a rampant divorce rate of over 50% of people end up in divorce, you are here and you're telling me that you were married to your husband for 40 plus years, and maybe you could help me by telling me what do you think attributed to that long marriage, because that's a long time.
Love.
Okay.
And
love.
I didn't go if
Help me understand that more. Love in terms of love is true. What kind of actions would you say that love brought into your marriage in terms
I
of?
would say that I wasn't fed on a gold platter for each meal.
Mm-hmm.
We had little this and little things flare up, but didn't leave
Okay.
because of that.
So you had love and you had commitment with your husband, and you said you made, so you were that stay at home, so you made dinner and you contributed in that way and took care of the kids, and he ran the barber shop. And then what else do you think attributed to the long marriage? Because that's
I was
impressive.
determined to stick through thick and thin,
Period.
ups and downs,
Yeah.
ins and outs. And I recall my brother-in-law was the one who performed the ceremony.
Is that right?
He said, Mary, John, you're the couple who's the first couple in our family that outperformed the ceremony. Even though you might have things go that you didn't like or he didn't like or you didn't get along, stick through thick and thin. don't think about getting divorced. And we did that.
That's awesome. So you didn't even, it wasn't even an option for you. You didn't even, it didn't come to your head. And the same with your husband. Was it John? John. So the same with John, obviously, because John, you're going to go through tough times and you're going to go through fun times. That is in essence what life's about. But you didn't have an exit strategy with your marriage.
I remember, excuse me.
Yes.
I remember my husband used to say to my biological son when he was small, he'll be 65, October the 31st. Anyways, I recall he used to tell him, Sanders, old boy.
What?
If something happened to me, you don't want another dad, do you? No, Daddy. No, Daddy. He said, no, Daddy. And I think about that because sometimes children are taught to be against who? Against that one. But he wasn't taught that way.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good. So, hey, it's 40 years plus marriage. What would you suggest to if you were to go back in time, what would you suggest to a young woman in terms of the intimacy part of a marriage and how important that is?
What are you talking about? I don't understand all these new questions. All these.
Oh, sorry. The sex life between a man and a woman in the married environment. What would you say the priority and the importance of that is?
Read the Bible, study the Bible. If you don't go to church, learn from. Sometimes you might have a family man, a person who could give you some advice.
Yes.
I wasn't given a lot of advice. I had to learn on my own.
Okay. So
my husband taught me a lot about life when we got married.
Nice. Well, he was your elder, right? How many years? You said it earlier, but
you remember he was born 1907.
Okay. So it was I know that flies bugging me.
Almost 20 years, right?
Yeah, 17 years your elder. Wow. Where'd you meet him? Where'd you meet your husband?
Oh, you want to know that part
yeah.
too? Well, I lived with my sister and brother-in-law. We lived in Portland.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law drove up to Bangor, 1952.
Yeah.
Really proud of it. I got to do a speech about it too.
Okay. It's good prep
and
right here.
He was looking for a place to start a church in Bangor, and he was near. This area where there's a barber shop, so he decided to go into the barber shop to get a haircut. While he was getting his haircut, he asked the barber, John, whose 3 children those out there unattended playing near the barber shop? He said, they are mine, and I am the mother, the father, the boss, and the breadwinner.
Wow. John was wearing a lot of hats at this time.
He said their mother died 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
My brother-in-law at the time said, John, you asked me how to meet him.
That's wonderful.
How did you meet? So he said, I have my sister-in-law, Mary, who is single. She lives with my wife and I in Portland. She might be the one could help you. Then John said, may I have her address and telephone number? I would like to write to her and also call her on the telephone. So a few days after that, I received calls plus a letter.
Wow.
Then they used to drive down to see me on Sundays. And one Sunday...
John and the kids would drive down on Sunday and see you.
The 3 children.
Yeah.
2 girls and a boy.
Wow.
What else you like to ask me?
No, so they would drive down Sunday, and then at some point, I assume he said,
well,
Mary, I think this is
Sunday,
working out pretty good, and let's get this, let's tie the knot here. Let's stop messing around. Let's get this thing formal.
Okay. But one Sunday they came down earlier.
Okay.
And we said we wanted to drive to Old Orchard Beach.
Yeah.
So while we were at the beach, she says, Mary, dear, I've got something, a small box in my pocket just for you. Will you accept it? I said, I had to swallow because I said, well, according to uncertain, I don't know, I said something. But I said, anyways, may I see it?
I want to see this thing before I commit to anything. I don't blame you, Mary. That's it's if it's a little dinky little stone, I'm like, hey, I'm walking. Right? Yeah, hey, man.
I said, oh, it's a, and he gave me the box.
Yeah.
And I opened it. It was an engagement ring.
Oh, wow.
So from then on, we started talking about marriage. And we want to think of getting married on a special day that will stand out in our minds. Mm-hmm. As I said before, he was born December the 26th. I mean, the 22nd, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And you got married on Christmas Day.
Well, it's Christmas Day. That particular year, we got married in Portland.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of snow, which was on, so we rode around like people do when they get married, sounding horns.
So
and we went to the studios have pictures taken.
Nice. Very cool. And then 40 years later, if you don't mind me asking, how did so John being 17 years your senior, you lost John.
John died April the 4th, 1997.
1997, he passed, and then. So, did you ever consider at any point?
No, thanks.
Okay, so there was you in your head. You're a one woman or a one man woman, and that was that was it. Once that relationship ended, you didn't want to have another man in your life at that point. Okay, and
I think about the time when my son was small. He asked him, if something happened to me, Sanders, oh boy, you don't want another dad. No daddy, no daddy, no daddy. I just think about that all the time.
Gotcha.
But that is reason just that I just like, I like the way I'm living now.
That's nice. No, that's nice. I mean, hey, that's wonderful. I mean, if that's how you feel, and it's good. You guys had a long marriage. And again, there must be some secret recipe. Like, so for people that. What would you say to someone that's married that's having challenges or thinking about leaving? Because I think it's important that they understand from someone like yourself that was successful in marriage and that made it work when, you must have been able to, obviously your mindset about not ever having the opportunity or the escape strategy, you didn't even know that was part of it. But you must have been day to day thinking about some things that helped you stay together for that long.
I think it was love at first sight.
Okay.
I love children.
Yeah.
So did he.
Yeah.
And he took care of it, as I've said before. He was the mother, the father, the boss, the breadwinner, and he still was that.
Right. And he did that for 3 years before meeting you, right? Because his previous wife passed away 3 years before meeting you. Is that right?
Right. I didn't know them before.
Right. So for 3 years he did that. And then he met you in 40 years. Wow. And so what do you think of your landlord here at this building?
What do I think of him?
Is he okay?
I think I accept changes.
Yeah.
I've been through many changes through my life.
Yeah. And?
Whether I like him or not, I just accept him.
You accept him. Well, that's
because I grew up in depression as well as segregation. I know what both is like.
Well, I hope that there's no resemblance of that at this building. I hope it's a comfortable environment. I mean, I would hope that the landlord is a decent guy, and that he takes care of you. Well, I gotta say it's been a true pleasure speaking with you. And if you were to end this conversation and interview with maybe one suggestion in terms of either mindset or things that have helped you be so successful and live such a positive and happy life, what would you say to someone that is having maybe not so good a time on this planet?
I would try to go through it and tell them what it was like for me.
Yeah? Yeah?
And hopefully they wouldn't have to go through with what things I've gone through with, because there's so many changes now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you had indicated before to me that you're doing Toastmasters now. I don't want to steal all your thunder, but you do Toastmasters, which is a public speaking thing. You're 95. You volunteer multiple times. You're crocheting. I don't know if what's this crochet thing, or do you do some sort of like, is it knitting or crochet?
I do both.
Okay, so you both.
I do lap weaving as well.
You weave.
I'm left-handed. My mother didn't knit nor crochet.
Okay.
But she did sewing and making things hand-me-downs. You don't know what hand-me-downs are.
Oh, I do. I happen to.
Well, anyways, I lived through that.
Yeah.
I lived through outdoor toilets.
Yeah.
No telephone.
You got it. Yeah.
Kerosene lamps.
Wow. That's quite a
things.
transition. And now we're on a mic, and in 2 minutes this could be on the internet to,
So I'm just saying I lived through that.
Right.
And I can see all the changes. They're for better for everybody. But when I think of how some sad things are, I think about people who even become presidents. You probably know one that said he had to study by the kerosene and the lamp. The flickering of the
oil lamp or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Well, I had to do that for years until when we got power.
Yeah.
But we didn't have it at the beginning, but we finally got it. I learned we wash clothes, you hang them outside. You hope it wouldn't rain because you didn't have a washing machine like people have nowadays.
Right.
You see very few people hanging their clothes. I mean, you may go to the country and see them, but you don't see too many in the city with clothes hanging out. You see some places.
No.
What's the noise?
That's a dog. It's a dog. It's a dog barking. So do you? I feel like that would have given you a sense of appreciation that others may not have. I mean, because when you just have that, you have gone to the point where you didn't have it and now you have it. So you have that contrast where most people are like, "What do you mean you didn't have a dryer?"
I tell how proud I am what some of our forefathers, or even some of our parents or grandparents, or even some have gone through it, but they lived through it like me.
Right.
And the changes, they're for better. Like I like flying.
Do you really? You're not scared of flying at all?
No.
Okay.
People ask me who went with you.
And you go by yourself?
I said, I'm not the pilot. I'm not the only passenger, but Mrs. Wheelchair is my guide. And somebody's pushing me.
That's right.
Because the airports are quite large, some places.
Oh, yeah.
And I would miss my flight. I wouldn't be able to walk the distance.
No, there's some distance to cover at airports for sure. Well, that's wonderful that you.
Just think, many years ago, people had to have somebody to carry their luggage, or they had to luggage themselves. But now look at the improvement of your luggage. Mm-hmm. They have wheels. You can push it or pull it yourself if you want to, where somebody else can carry it. But
that's true.
You don't have that weight to lift. But still, there's rules that we should follow. You shouldn't leave your luggage unattended.
That's for sure.
That's good reason.
Oh,
I'll tell you a little story about me.
Let's do it. Let's hit it.
Once I traveled from Bangor to Savannah,
Georgia, yeah.
The plane landed, and I had called ahead to speak at a Toastmaster meeting. Was going to be held the same evening that I arrived.
Okay.
When I got to Savannah to the airport, I had told my niece and nephew-in-law the description of my luggage. I said it's blue.
Yeah.
And it's almost as tall as I am.
Okay.
So
that's a lot of clothes, Mary. I'm just going to tell you right off. That's were you moving there? That's a big suitcase.
Well, they wanted to see what I had in for them.
Okay.
So when we got to the airport, they told me don't stay inside, wait outside, because they couldn't park too close. So I saw them when they wheeled me to sit down to wait to take me to get my luggage. They went one way. My niece and nephew-in-law went one way to the baggage room, and they wheeled me another way. So when the bags started coming around, the first bag of my description, they took that bag, and it wasn't mine. But we did not do anything about it.
Oh, wow.
We took it all the way to their home.
Wow.
He said, Aunt Mary, I need your keys. And I said, that's strange. I didn't lock my suitcase.
Aha.
The locks are on it, but they don't lock the bag.
Okay, so you
We
had...
didn't look at the identification
Aha. You didn't look at the name tag. Mistake
look
number
at it.
one.
because they took the bag and away we went.
Wow.
So he said, I'm married. The only way I can get in his suitcase is saw the lock off.
Yep.
And I have to go to Lowe's to get a hacksaw because I don't own one. All of
Okay.
this is true.
Wow.
I mean, maybe I shouldn't be. I mean, I'm giving too much stuff away.
No, this is all good. This is all good. But I will say,
Don't say it anymore.
no, that's not what I'm saying at all. You've done it. You've shared a lot. We've covered so many things. I don't even know where to start. But I will say we're going to close out the show. But I want you to be able to close it out with just maybe like just a little tip for some younger women or some people that from your wisdom, how to live your life. If you were to suggest it to someone, this is your chance to tell the world what you want them to hear from you right now.
Well, I think we should try very hard to make up our minds if we want to say, I do, I will. But sometimes you can be in relationship with a person maybe several years.
Yeah.
And you think you know each other. Yes. And then you can be in relationship a few months. Just think about it. That's where mine was, just a few months. But I learned an awful lot after we become husband and wife.
Okay.
And I understand sometimes everything isn't going to be like you think.
Like
it's gonna be.
roses. Yeah.
We have to learn together. But he was more experienced than I was. I was the one who was green.
And
He was the father of 3 children. I was a mother of none.
yes, right.
But I learned a lot.
That's
and I
awesome.
learned to take. We have to learn to take. We can't be the one who give it out all the time because we aren't perfect. No one's perfect.
Right.
I don't know who is on earth is perfect.
No one.
I don't want to be perfect.
No.
I want to say
We're flawed. That's part of being human, for sure, is having, being somewhat flawed, yes.
well, thank you. That's what I am. And
Me too.
I recall when I was
Cheers.
growing up, I don't like to talk about segregation unless I really. I remember just a few years, last year, I was invited to go to. I really wanted to go to Margaret Chase Smith Ferry.
Mm-hmm.
And my opportunity was last year.
Mary, sorry to interrupt. I don't mean to interrupt. What we're doing is we have to close out. We have another guest coming up shortly. But I wanted to just take a few minutes to just say that, number one, I can't believe your landlord is such a jerk. And but number two, I think that you're an incredible inspiration to people. You're 95. You do all kinds of things. You always have a smile on your face. You're always doing stuff, messing around, causing a ruckus here at the building. We've had to call the police many, many times on you. And you know that, and I'm not going to get into the details of it. Just kidding, by the way. But no, thank you. And it's just great to have you here. And I'll talk to your landlord about some of the things you've suggested, personality-wise, for him to improve upon. And that's a wrap. So thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
I remember one time my daughter called me from Maryland, and I was crying. Next thing I know, yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Well, I mean,
The police is up to coming here looking for one.
Well, I mean, that was more of a joke about you and the police, but maybe before I owned the building, maybe you were the police coming to take you out of here for some of the things you've done here.
No, I don't know about that.
This isn't a confession, but you feel free if you want to confess.
Tell me about it. Tell me about what did I do?
No, we're just kidding. Just a joke. Just kidding
I
around.
remember one time I think just before somebody's living on our floor, upstairs.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is on a Sunday morning.